Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, better known as the wonderful world of social media. Yours truly again, Jimmie Williams, back again with another video series. I think you're going to love the one I'm going to be talking about today. It's going to be 10 parts. Yes, 10-part series. I'm not completely done with the COVID-19, conquering COVID-19 just yet, but I felt the need to take my time and stick a pen and talk a little bit more about real estate because I have a lot of people all over the world that follow me. You guys, you found out about me through real estate. And so you've been asking me a ton of questions on, hey, Jimmie, how do I do this with real estate? How do I make money with that? And you guys have been pushing me. I'm thinking, you know what? These people want me to shift and talk about what's more important to them. And one thing about mentorship and leadership, I'm talking to the leaders right now. You have to listen to the temperature of your students, the people you mentor, them that follow you. You need to find content that's going to enrich them and help them. And that's what I'm here for. My wife and I have dedicated our lives to helping you guys get to where you need to be in life. No matter what it takes, it's going to take some grit. It's going to take some grinding. It's going to take some transforming of the mind, some action, some planning. And you have to put all those things together to get what you want out of life. But our job is to teach you and help you get there. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my time today. And it's going to be, again, I'm going to do all 10 parts today. I'll be uploading them periodically over the next couple of days. But I'm going to be teaching on 10 parts or 10 strategies that are, I would say, the top 10 money-making strategies, the top 10 in the area of real estate. So get your pen and paper ready. Let's make this happen, okay? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be talking about, and then I'm going to get right into the first one, which is the first module today. But before I do any of that, I always tell you guys, take a minute. If you're not subscribed, if you see me on YouTube, you're going to look to my left, which is your right, over here. There's a little red button. Click on that, subscribe. There's a little bell right next to that. Click on the bell so you get instant notifications whenever I come out with some new content so you can have access to it. If you're not on YouTube, you see me on the other platforms, Instagram and Facebook, etc. You're going to look down. There's going to be a description down there with a link that takes you straight to my YouTube page. Follow the same instructions I just gave you and subscribe. Okay, I want you guys to follow me all the way to the top. Again, I'll let you guys know this. Most of you, before you were paying for my mentorship and coaching. I no longer charge for mentorship and coaching. I don't do it anymore, okay? It's all gonna be free through my YouTube channel. You just get all the content that you can, because by the end of the year, we'll probably have 800 videos that you guys can draw from, for your own enrichment and edification, all right? I want to see you make it. I wanna see you make it to the top. And it takes time to get there, but I think we have what it's going to take to impart to you, to give you the steps you're going to need, the strategies you're going to need, and the confidence that you're going to need to do it. All right? Let's get into this. My lovely wife's, and she's working on some other things. Her name's Arlene Williams. Most of you know her. She says hello to all of you guys, and just continue to pray for us that we have the strength and the tenacity and the wisdom and the understanding to continue to create more content that's useful and helpful for you guys. All right? Here we go. I'm going to talk about the top 10 really quick and tell you what they are, the subjects I'm going to be touching, and then we're going to get into the first one, okay? Pardon me. Number one, we're going to be talking about double closings, okay? And again, we're focusing on making money, okay? The best ways, the top 10 ways to make money with real estate. Double closings are bar none one of the best. I will say, to me, I think it's number one. When you want to make a chunk of cash and you don't have to really buy and hold the property. Okay, I'm going to talk about what that means, the difference between buy and hold and then double closings. Okay, some people say it's an assignment contract, which is a little bit different than an assignment contract, but I'm going to show you how to make $50,000 today. I'm going to show you how to do that with a double closing. Number two, Airbnb. Number three, wholesaling with single family residence or single family property. Number four, wholesaling with multifamily properties. That's hotels and, apartment complexes and motels, et cetera, all right? Number five, tax lien properties, how to make money with those, all right? Number six, REO/bank-owned properties, all right? Number seven, foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, lis pendens. Number eight, fix and flip. A lot of you guys, you don't really understand fix and flip. You see all these shows on television. You don't want to get into that, but it's one of the quickest ways to make money, I think, in my opinion, all right? Number nine, buying, holding single family residence, houses, single family properties, right? Number 10, which is more my space right now because I've shifted a lot in real estate, buying, holding multifamily properties, okay? Portfolios where you go out, you can buy 100 houses in one portfolio and you can manage them and make residual income on the tenants that are there. Hotels and motels and apartment complexes. I mean, you know, buying land and developing that land, real estate development. Those are the things that we focus on now. In fact, JW Acquisitions and Development, we've expanded. We're trying to, you know, we're not trying, we're actually making moves and buying international property for the purpose of galvanizing and creating wealth in different parts of the world. You know, the economy in the US, I mean, it's going like this right now, right? But it's not like that everywhere. So you have to think outside the box and remember, when you create wealth, you just can't you can't be small-minded when it comes to buying, holding. I'm going to show you guys how to do this, and it's going to be bar none one of the greatest things I can teach you and show you how to do. All right. And when you get to that level where you know you're confident enough to do this, you'll see your whole life start to change. Make no mistake, in this hour that we're in right now, residual income is critical. Okay. You want to have money coming from different sources, whether it be from stocks, bonds, mutual funds, you know, Forex, multifamily property, buying other businesses that already have income coming in. You need to have the mindset of creating wealth through multiple streams of income. And I'm going to talk about the top 10 I think is that apply to real estate. I just talked about those. Again, grab your pen and a piece of paper, write down what I said, go rewind it, write it down, and take action and follow the steps I'm going to be talking about, okay? Number one, let's get into this. One of my favorite, how to do a double closing and put $50,000 in your pocket. There's a few things you're going to need to have a successful double closing. And again, I'm speaking from experience, I'm speaking from mentorship, and from research. Those are three important things you need to understand when you have someone that's trying to train you or teach you something. Make sure they're coming from those particular perspectives, right? So double closings. What you need first, and write these down. These are a few things you're going to need before you even consider doing a double closing. The first thing you're going to need is a transactional funder. What is a transactional funder? A transactional funder is a not necessarily a bank, but it's a private lender in more cases than none. They have their own money. They have a company that they lend for the specific purposes of allowing you to have enough money you need to buy the property, but they want their money back generally within 72 hours or 4 days. So if I borrow the money from them to buy a property on Monday, by Thursday they want their money back, usually with 4 or 5 points interest on top of it. So if they loaned you $100,000, they want that $100,000 back by Thursday. If I borrowed on Monday, and they want back an additional $5,000 if it's 5 points on the back end. So they put $5,000 in their pocket for loaning you $100,000, which is fair, okay? Because you get that money quickly. You don't have to go through a long, all this drama to get it. You have to have a plan in place to give them their money back. So when you do that, the second thing you're going to need before they allow you to have it, they want to know if you have an LLC. You're going to need an LLC simply because when you do a double closing, you want to be able to hide your profit. You don't want the buyer to see how much money you're going to be making on that deal. Because remember, you're in essence, you're buying the property up front from the seller, you're putting it in your LLC, and then you're going to turn around, you're going to sell it to the seller. So you do one closing simultaneously, and then you do another one, right? You do one closing first, and then you do the second one simultaneously is what I'm trying to say. So that's why it's called a double closing. So you buy from the seller, turn around and sell it to another buyer, which is two closings, which is a double closing. But you have to hide that, what you're going to make in the property in the LLC, so it's a legitimate closing. The difference here between a double closing and you putting a property under contract and you have an assignable contract. When you have an assignable contract, number one, you don't really own that property. You're just assigning it to the buyer on the end. So you don't really maintain that. You don't take possession of the property. So you don't own it. You can't maintain it for that 3-day period. You're giving it to them, and they're going to see how much money you're going to make. Which is the second thing. In most cases, if you're making more than 10 or 15 or 20,000 on an assignable contract, that could be a problem for you at closing, because if they start seeing what you're going to make, they can communicate with the seller and back out of the deal. I saw this happen. One guy, he wasn't wise when he did this. I learned this from my mentor, and I saw it happen. He wanted to make a $50,000 profit on an assignment contract. So he took the property, got the assignable contract, tried to sell it to the end buyer. The end buyer saw that he was going to make $50,000. He backed out of the deal. Well, that would have never happened if he had done a double closing and put the property in the LLC's name. He hides how much he paid for the property, which is it's not the business of the person on the end to know how much you paid for it anyway. But if you don't have a transactional funder, you can't do that. So again, LLC, you need transactional funder. Number 3, you need to understand the 70-30 rule. You have to make sure the profitability is there for everyone. 70-30 rule, okay? Guys, if you're not in the real estate space, you're not going to understand this language. But for those of you who understand the 70-30 rule, you're going to know where I'm coming from. But for those of you who don't, I'm going to explain it to you. Let's just say the property, the ARV, which is the after repair value, the property is worth $200,000 at the end. All right? So when you sell it to the end buyer needs to look at that property and go, you know what? I can still make 70%. I can buy it for 70% loan to value, which means I can buy it for 70% of what it's worth, and I can turn around and make 30% on the end, which is the other remaining balance of that. So you picked it up for, let's say, $130,000, $140,000. You could turn around and sell it to the end guy over here, the end buyer, for $200,000 and put $60,000 in your pocket. That's 70-30. So the guy on the end who buys a property, who's another investor, has to look and say, okay, the 70-30 rule will apply here. I can buy this property and put this amount of money in my pocket, 30% of the value of the property. I bought it for 70% loan to value. I made $30,000, 30% profit. Okay, not 30,000, that's in my head. But you get the point. The point is there has to be enough meat on the bones when you do a double closing. So if the property is not worth a certain amount, the double closing is not worth it, right? So let me keep going here. What else do you need? You need an end buyer in place. So, you don't want to get this property and you don't have someone waiting in the wings to pick it up, to buy it. So you need to have a guy in place, a man or woman in place that says, I want that property. So let's recap. You need to do a double closing. You need a transactional funder, person who will give you the money, company will give you the money, an LLC to hide it in the company's name, whatever you bought it for, so they don't see that. 70-30 rule, you have to understand that. There has to be enough meat on the bones. You have to understand your numbers is what I'm saying. If your numbers don't make sense, it's not a good deal. Number 4, you need an end buyer in place. And 5thly, most important, you need to find a company or title company that will do double closings. I'm going to just throw this out there for you guys right now so you know this. Boston Title, they do double closings in most states. That's just a nugget for you to have. Take that and run with it. Contact them and, and say, hey, listen, I heard you guys do double closings in certain states, and you talk to them. Because if you don't have a title company that's willing to do the double closing, it's a dead deal. You can't make any money because you don't have the title company to help you get the deal done. But if you get the right company, you're good. So those are the things you're going to need. And I'm going to give you a general scenario so you can understand how this works, okay? Okay, this is an example, all right? So let's say, me personally, I see a property. It's worth $200,000. I'm looking at it. It's nice. Man, that's a great property. However, it needs a lot of work. It needs about $40,000 worth of work. All right. Now, I highly recommend that when you try to buy properties with that much meat on the bones, it's worth $200,000 and needs $30,000, $40,000 in work, and let's say it's for $50,000. To find good deals like that, you're going to have to do sometimes pre-foreclosure properties and bank-owned properties, or you just find a smashing good deal, but they're out there. But for the sake of time, let's say I found a deal like that. Okay, from a bank or wherever, and I want to buy that property, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, you know what? The meat is on the bones. I can make some money on this one. Again, the purpose of double closings is so you can buy that property temporarily, take possession of it for about 3 days, sell it to the end buyer, and make a good chunk of change. I'm not talking 15, 20,000. I'm talking about on this current deal, I can make 50 grand on it because the spread is so big. So I picked this property up for 50 grand. It needs $40,000 worth of work done to it, right? I can turn around and give this to the end buyer and make a $50,000 profit. Let's do the numbers on it. I picked it up for $50,000, right? Let's say I sell it to him for $100,000. Well, it's worth $200,000, so there's a $100,000 spread there. But keep in mind the 70-30 rule. So I sold it to him for $100,000. He puts $40,000 worth of work because it needs major work, right? It needs a new roof or something and some cosmetics on the inside, maybe some cosmetics on the outside. He puts $40,000 into this thing. I made $50,000. I'm scot-free from the deal. I sell it to the end buyer. He has the property on the market for $200K. He put $40,000 into it. He picked it up for $100K. So there's a $60,000 spread there, or 30%, the 70-30 rule. He bought it from me, put the money into it. When he was all said and done, he put 70% loan to value into that deal. So he still has another 30% to get out of the deal. So he's happy. I'm happy. I put 50 grand in my pocket. He puts it on the market, sells it for 200K. He puts 60,000 in his pocket. So he's happy as well. Again, if the spread is there, double closings are great. You tell me where you're going to go out and make $50,000 on an assignment deal and that deal not go bad at the end. Well, if you don't do double closings where you can hide it in your corporation, those deals go bad because they don't want to see you make that kind of money. However, I put the property in my LLC's name, JW Acquisitions and Development. He has no idea what I paid for it, nor should he, right? Just like we don't know what the bank paid for certain properties. There's certain ways to find out, but sometimes they don't disclose that information. They might have picked the property up for $20,000 or $10,000. I don't know that. I bought it for $50,000. I flipped it to him legally, so I closed on the deal, picked it up myself. I did another closing with him at the end, which is a double closing for $100K. He took the property, he or she, and ran with that, fixed it up. He might have found someone to fix it up for $25,000 or $30,000, which means he ends up putting more money in his pocket, $70,000 to $80,000 in his own pocket. He or she, I keep saying him, but you women are tearing it up out there, male or female. Okay, whoever gets the deal is going to make the money. My point is, everybody's happy. I got the property, flipped it to him. I put 50 in my pocket. He puts 25 to 30 to 40 in it, puts it on the market, puts 60 to 70K in his pocket. The end buyer is happy because the property is immaculate because he put the proper fixing. He hired the right people to properly go in and fix the property up and make it presentable. So everyone is happy. Everybody walks away from the deal happy. That's the power of double closings. I hope you guys understand this. This is one of the top ways. This is I would say the top 2 or 3 ways to make a quick chunk of cash legally. And here's the best thing about it. You can put on your resume that you literally bought that property. When you do a regular, an assignable contract, you assign it to the end buyer. You can do that in your corporation or in your personal name, but you never really take full possession of the property like you do in a double closing. So you can't say that you actually own that property if you do a regular assignable contract. With a double closing, you can literally say, I bought this property, even though it's for 3 days. You could say you bought it. One more thing. Once you make your $50,000 profit, you have to go back and pay the transactional funder, which is, again, it's going to be 5 points. So in this case, I borrowed $50,000, right? So I have to go back and pay whatever that is. So 10 points would be $5 grand. So I have to pay them an additional 5 points, which is $2,500 on top of the $50,000. So it's $50,000 I paid back to the transactional funder plus $2,500 for their fee for 5 points. So I'm literally walking away with, over about $47,000 in change. A huge amount of money to put in my pocket for a little bit of work, doing it the right way. Again, if you do it the other way, you try not to put it in your corporation's name and they see the amount of money you're making, that deal can go bad. I've seen them go bad a lot of the time because the end buyer is going, I'll give you 15 or 20, but I'm not giving you 50,000 on my deal. Use wisdom. Guys, this is a business where you have to use your wisdom. You have to use your intellect to understand that everybody's trying to save money right now. Everybody. Even though what you're doing is legal and you're doing it the right way, they don't want to see you make too much of a profit. But if you do it the way I'm telling you, they won't see what you're doing. They won't understand the methods that you're using to understand how you're able to capture that amount of money. They'll never know it. Only you know that because I'm teaching it to you. Please apply this principle and make money. Make it now. Make it fast. Even though it's a down economy, people are still buying property. All right. You guys have to make sure you have the right mindset about doing what I'm saying. Activate this principle in your business and you're going to see your money go up. And it'll never come down if you keep on applying these principles. This is just number 1. All right. I'll see you at the top or the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.